All right, guys. Hello, good evening. Welcome back to HopeTV, one of JCI Cebu's Project Hope initiatives that believes there's hope for everyone. Once again, this is your host, RR or Ronald or whatever you want to call me, and my partner and mental health expert, ang nag-iisang Chen Tan. Kumusta, bro Chen?
Evening, bro. Okay lang, bro. Okay.
Bro Chen,
Ayo, ikan kaon.
it's already July. I think 3 months of being quarantined. So I think I'm gonna ask you this question again. What's on your mind?
Kuan, bro, murag gimingaw jud kog lakaw, no. I really miss. And
Kayo.
no. So
Ito
kana
lang may
man.
gibuang aning COVID, no?
Lagi wa na tayo mahimo. Can't do anything, di ba?
Well,
Saon.
bro Chen, wouldn't you like to ask what's on my mind right now?
Oh, yes, please. Sige daw, bro. Magpangutanad. Sige
All
go.
right, bro Chen, what's on my mind right now? Well, my mind right now is our guest host for today. Yes, bro Chen, we have a guest host and that will help us introduce our topic for today. This is actually our fifth episode na, bro Chen. Akalain mo, no? All right, so to introduce this our episode for today, let me read to you the some clues or credentials of who this guest host is. So she is a graduate of De La Salle College of Saint Benilde with the degree of AB Consular and Diplomatic Affairs. Also a project coordinator to the founder and chairman, Ms. Gina Lopez, for her foundation investments in loving organizations for village economies, or I Love Foundation. And she's also a component coordinator of the Southeast Asian Games 2019 under Stagecraft International Incorporated, and also hosted during ASEAN Thanksgiving and Appreciation Nights, and hosted Earth Warrior trainings or a team building and a leadership development community and a camaraderie program also. And right now, this guest host that we're having right now is presently in the real estate industry and digital marketing. So you are you excited to know the name of our guest host, Broten?
Murag kibaw naman ko, bro. Pero sige daw.
Okay. Well, she is Nina Ruiz. Hello, Miss Nina.
Wow.
Hi, hello.
Hello, sis Nina.
Hello,
Hi,
Miss
hi.
Nina. What's on your mind, Miss Nina?
Well, actually, I'm very excited about the topic tonight because, it's very important that we would raise awareness how we could protect these children, especially right now na,
Yes.
during COVID, these kids are locked up inside their homes, diba?
Yes,
So,
yes.
I really look forward, especially to our guest speakers tonight. Hi, again, I'm Nina Suarez.
All right,
Okay
Miss
lang yan,
Nina.
bro.
We're really privileged, Miss Nina, to have you here.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for having me also.
Yes, Miss Nina, you're right. Our situation right now is, is it getting better for you? What do you think?
Well, what I've noticed kasi parang yung situation...
Generally, in the whole Philippines.
Well, situational outside, no, at face value, nakikita mo naman na people now are getting adjusted to the new normal. But, we still have cases. Like here in San Juan, our cases are around 188 na. So, I mean, being from JCI San Juan Dambana, we also launched a project trooping the frontliners wherein nagbigay kami ng mga PPEs. Nagbigay kami ng mga PPEs amounting to 12,000 pieces. To 12,000 pieces.
Wow.
That were this year.
All right.
Yeah, it was distributed in various cities in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Of course, also in partnership with the Philippine Air Force. Ayun.
That's so nice, Miss Nina. By the way, our audience, Miss Nina Ruiz is also from JCI San Juan Dambana. Am I right? San Juan City Dambana or San Juan Dambana only?
San Juan Dambana. Yeah.
Okay,
JCI
okay.
San Juan Dambana.
Yes. Well, that's very nice and very good and very wholesome, Miss Nina. Yes. Connection with that, I think we should really do this kind of activities too, because just today the Philippines is now leading the entire Southeast Asia with the highest number of COVID-19
Yes,
cases. So
that's
we
very
are
true.
yeah, we are used to just second lang, di ba? Right now we are already at the top. So with a mere I'm reading that data here with a mere 27% recovery rate lang. So it's quite small compared to our neighbors. So PH has 32,845 active positive cases, followed
Taas
by
na.
our fellow archipelago, which is Indonesia, with 31, 31,798 cases left. So yeah, we are leading now. We're also closing in faster than expected to the 60,000 number of cases predicted by UP researchers by the end of July. As on the first week yet, we now have 46,350 total cases in the nation. So last time I checked, which is July 3, we have 40,000. Right now, it's 6,000 more. So it's really such a surge. No? But despite the surge, the national government via presidential spokesperson Harry Roque has expressed early today that the country will still need to reopen its economy within the month, avoid further economic damage, which we really expect right now, and financial sufferings as well for us, our people. We're trying to get concrete figures covering Cebu alone for today, but as per the latest Facebook post, as what you're seeing right now in the display, um, uh, Cebu alone, as per the Cebu City Health Department and DOH Region 7 today, they have been ordered by the IATF to stop posting independent reports Cebu onward on COVID-19 monitoring. Yeah, it really stir confusion with the public as they're still harmonizing data with other health departments. They urge the public to refer only to the DOH post instead. So as Cebu City is still under ECQ, expire on July 15 yet, but I think it's another extension. I hope not. So
We'll
how
see.
about yeah? How about there in San Juan? Is it uh GCQ? GCQ? What's the status?
Actually, GCQ pa rin naman eh. We're still on
Okay.
GCQ, you know,
Oh,
restaurants,
you're doing
malls.
better than here.
Kamusta ba dyan? Ano na bang kaso dyan? I mean,
Uh,
anong status? Oo.
All places have one thing in common: military.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ayun.
it means one thing. We're still struggling.
Yeah, we
We're
all
still
are.
under. Mm-mm. All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Miss Nina, for sharing
Thank
the
you.
situation there right now. At least we are already aware of what is happening. Bro Chen, you have to say something. Another current event
Sure,
regarding
sure.
OSEC. Okay, Bro
So
Chen.
actually, the title of our session right now is protect them young, no? And it actually refers
Mm.
protecting the children young. So we're gonna talk about two major terms tonight. So that's OSEC and CSEC. So, OSEC actually means online sexual exploitation
Oh,
of children. So that's OSEC, and CSEC means commercial sexual exploitation of children. So
okay.
CSEC.
C-second
These
OSEC.
are both serious issues, and yeah, it's actually growing here in the Philippines. It's concerning, and there has been attention nagikan sa international sources here sa Philippines. In fact, if you look at Cebu, I think in Lapu-Lapu City or Mactan, it's actually hotspot for some sexual
Really?
mga exploitation. But
Mm.
actually our guest now, who's a social worker, might know more about this. No? According to the
Yes,
sources
yes.
I'm going to read here, actually, it says here that nagka-increase ang cases of OSEC victims during the
Okay.
lockdown. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it says here 13 OSEC victims and children at risk rescued during lockdown. And this is from the IJM, no? The International Justice Mission.
Kuya, ano eh?
Also says here, grabe, no? Kuya should actually. Also says here, bro, that 2 OSEC were arrested during lockdown. So there is clear evidence that it's still an issue, which is quite sad since I believe most of the victims, the children, are the ones in poverty because perhaps parents and such sell their children because pobre lagi. Look at those here, you know? So quite sad. But yes.
I'm quite speechless because I think Philippines holds the world's longest lockdown, right?
Yes.
Am I right, Miss Nina?
Yes.
Have you heard about that? We hold
Actually,
the long.
Yeah, I mean, we started it kasi March. I mean, kasi for other Asian countries, I think they started a little bit earlier, you know, once they had the early detection of the virus.
Yes.
So yeah, I think contender tayo in the longest. Contender tayo ngayon.
Contender. We are at the top. No, world's longest lockdown, and I can't imagine with what Chen Tan has shown to us. There are a lot of things that has happened during the lockdown, especially this OSEC and child exploitations. No? So how much more? This is really a very essential, relevant, and crucial episode that we're going to have right now. And what more? It's really better to really discuss it with special experts. Talk this and who is this kind of situation, and that's why we are proud here to introduce 2 guest speakers that will help us enlighten the situation and what can we do how to lessen it. So yeah, I'm happy to introduce Miss Nina, and I will be introducing our guest speakers for today. Let me start with this from Restore Children. So I'll be reading who this guest speaker is. He is a licensed social worker by profession. She earned a bachelor's degree in social work at Leyte Normal University in Tacloban City. So she also continues her master's degree in social work at University of Southern Philippines Foundation this year. And she also her career as social work has been also tremendous for her. It's an incredible experience as working with victims and survivors of trafficking, especially the CSEC and OSEC. She also worked with IJM for 8 long years. So both IJM Cebu and Pampanga as a caseworker and senior social worker, where she is where her clinical work started. She was trained to be a clinical social worker. And working with children and adults survivors of trafficking. So her experience allowed her to travel outside Philippines, like Cambodia, Thailand, see best practices and use them in the field. Yes, these countries, Thailand, Cambodia, also share the same sad problem about child exploitation and human trafficking. So we have really legit advisors and guests for today. So, and last one, she works with International Justice Mission, and prior to her work at Restore, she also managed and ran another non-government organization in the city for almost 2 years, Solid Ground International. So it's a Christian and nonprofit organization whose main purpose is to restore those survivors of trafficking full health and independent living through establishment and maintenance of transitional housing. So currently, okay, it's a really long introduction, no? She's a clinical program manager of Restore Children and Family Services. So it is also a Christian nonprofit community mental health organization that provides trauma recovery services to those children, wow, and youth ages 2 to 21 years old suffering from trauma. Oh, this is really a very good and fruitful and fulfilling work. No, let me introduce to you. We are proud to introduce to you person behind these accolades, Miss May Grace Moreno. Hello, Miss
Hi.
Grace.
Hello, good
Hello,
evening.
Miss.
So, hi, Miss
Hello.
Grace,
Grace. Good evening.
you have a
Thank you for
very nice
having me.
background.
Yeah,
I
I
love the
know hearing
background.
from that, I'm overwhelmed and now I'm pressured to answer
Don't
all
be
your
pressured, Miss.
questions level. Yeah.
All right, Miss
So
Grace,
really
we'll
thanks for
just
having me.
have a casual conversation here, and yeah,
Yeah.
so no need to be nervous. Right,
Yeah.
Miss Grace, what's on your mind right now?
What's in my mind right now?
Yes.
I'm curious actually, and I'm overwhelmed as well. At the same time, I'm so grateful that you invite me here. I'm grateful for the fact
We're more
that
grateful that you accepted, Miss Grace.
Chen is a
Yes.
volunteer for Restore, and I'm just so grateful that he always really thinks of Restore and how to promote our work. Because I believe, well, number one, he's a mental health, professional, and so he really
Mm-mm.
thinks of, like how to protect children and how to be informed really about this mental health, especially right now. And so I'm overwhelmed and I'm curious at the same time. I'm really hoping that this is going to be a really, really good and productive discussion. Thank
Yes,
you,
this is really,
guys.
yeah, this is gonna be
Yay.
a really productive discussion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's gonna be really more productive because we're going to have another guest which will be introduced by Miss Nina. Would you like to introduce Miss Nina?
Yes, actually,
Before we proceed with
Okay.
the other guests, bro, don't you think we have a portion we kind of missed? No, remember the memes?
Oh yeah. All right.
Hello.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
kinamdam.
ayun.
Yes. We actually okay. This is my bad. No, I really forgot. We actually have a little activity that will that will exercise our mind, no, to relax our mind before we delve into a really more in-depth topic. We have a meme segment or react meme segment. So there will be memes that will be shown, and then we're going to guess what the memes are about. So let us start with
um,
our first meme. Thank you for reminding, bro. Nakalimut ko, bro. Okay.
Sige bro, ato ni isugod ang meme, but perhaps we
Yes.
can include the other guests first.
Yeah, maybe we
Yes,
could
also Miss
introduce
Nina
our
and
another guest para sumali siya dito sa gagawin natin tonight, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oo. Well,
It will be
actually,
fun.
just nako, excited ako. And I'm very, excited to introduce our speaker for tonight. I mean, she's a world champion. I mean, actually, I watched, before giving everyone an idea, I watched one of her videos. And it was around, I think, around 2015 when she read an article about this child sexual exploitation, and parang that yun ata yung isa sa mga determining factors that really pushed her and moved her to pursue and focus on this advocacy. So as I mentioned, she's a world champion. She's a Filipino Jiu-jitsu national athlete and an advocate against child sexual violence.
Wow.
She's a JJF world champion and three times IBJJF world champion and a SEA Games champion and many others. So she initiated the Fight to Protect movement under Philippines with Orphans, which aims to fight against child sexual violence through sports-based initiatives. Through this platform that she was blessed with, she uses her voice to bring people together to work as one to protect vulnerable children from sexual violence. Fight to Protect also uses sports as a tool to prevent child sexual violence and to help build up children from victims to survivors and eventually advocates themselves. She's also grabe, diba? I mean, from building up a kid, no, na she's gone through. I mean, definitely these kids, I mean, I'm sure they've gone through a lot talaga, and to be able to be part of that program to help them boost up their confidence and self-esteem, para bumalik and to overcome yung mga yung mga napagdaanan nila in the past. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really moving to be part of something like this. And just to give everyone an idea, she's also an alumna of Ateneo de Manila University with a degree of BS Management. Without further ado, I'm very excited to have with us
Yes.
Ms. Direct Meggie Ochoa.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Good evening po sa lahat. Good
Hello,
evening,
Miss
everyone.
Meggie.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm so excited to have this conversation. Actually, I'm also excited to meet Miss May. I heard about the work that you do, and I'm excited to learn more. So thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you so much, Miss Meggie. All right. I think we have already all the people here. Now, we forgot a segment that we're going to do. So, it's much more if we'll just join with Miss Grace and Miss Meggie with our React the Meme. Bro Chen, di ba, Bro Chen?
Yeah, the more the merrier.
It's gonna be more fun. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Miss May, Miss Grace, you can also voice your opinions about the memes that we're going to show. All right. Let's start with our first meme. Okay. What's this? Sorry for needing constant reassurance that I'm not as annoying as I think I am. Okay. Thoughts, everyone. Sorry for needing constant reassurance. I'm not as annoying as I think I am. Constant reassurance.
Oh, kawawa sa meme.
Parang iba naman yan.
How about you, Miss Nina? Can you relate?
Sorry for needing constant reassurance that I'm not as annoying as I think I am. Parang ang lalim naman. Sino pumili nito? May pinagdadaanan ba kayo?
This Mark. Alright, maybe in the next meme we're to be light. Okay, let's go to the second meme and second and last meme. All right, second. Hey. Me running away from my problems. Okay, that is definitely my face when I run away from my problems. How about your face, Bro Chen?
I'm usually calmer, no? Pero yeah, I can relate.
Wow, sana all, no? Sana all calm lang pag may problema.
Sana all ganun na, tatakbo na lang.
How about you, Miss Meggie?
Depende.
Can you relate to the facial expression of the baby there?
Medyo with me kasi I always pretend I pretend like it's not a problem. So, iba.
True.
Pag the great pretender. Oo.
Yeah, so iba.
Pag just smile away the problem like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wag pahalata.
Hindi palata yan. How about Miss Grace? Can you relate?
Yeah. Right.
All right.
I mean, especially now that you're, like you're serving, you're trying to be feeling okay, but inside you're not. You really are worried,
Yes. All right. So this is just a refresher, guys, to the following serious topics that we're going to. Okay, maybe we'll take it less serious, but still we're not taking for granted the most essential parts that we're going to discuss in the coming few minutes. Okay. All right. So now that we have our guest, Miss Nina, would you like to ask questions about our topic for today regarding with the human trafficking and child exploitation?
Actually, since we were discussing earlier, the current situation, the current pandemic, COVID, no? I mean, even before even before COVID-19, we've heard so much about child abuse and exploitation prevailing here in the Philippines. I've read that the Philippines is also the global hotspot of this particular issue. So maybe the question is, what makes the current pandemic situation put these children at higher risk, and how common is child abuse in your experience at work, in your line of work?
Yes,
And can
yes.
you please each tell every one of us now watching a sample scenario of child abuse that moved you the most when you learned about it?
Mhm.
Direct Maggie, yeah.
Okay, sure. Sige. So, sorry, ang daming questions. So the first question was,
Sorry.
I just want to
Sige.
review. First question was, how prevalent is this in the Philippines? Is that
Yeah,
the question?
what makes the current pandemic situation put these children at higher risk?
So the current situation of the pandemic.
Yes.
Okay, so to begin with, yeah, it's the Philippines is already vulnerable to this kind of issue. According to the National Baseline Study on Violence Against Children, 1 in 5 children actually go through child sexual violence. Yung OSEC, or online sexual exploitation of children, that's just one kind of child sexual violence. There are various kinds. There's OSEC, and then CSEC is an even larger umbrella. Like OSEC is under CSEC, and then above that pa, meron pang child sexual abuse. So there are various kinds of child sexual violence, and 1 in 5 children in the Philippines actually experience that. So I think yung exact statistic is 17 point something percent. And apart from that, yung OSEC na, like you mentioned, we've been tagged as a global hotspot. Since si Miss May or Miss Grace, ano
They
mas
call
prefer
me
niyo?
Mai, actually.
Mai.
They call me Mai.
Yeah, si Miss Mai, I'm sure can tell us more about OSEC specifically. Yung sa fight to protect kasi it's child sexual violence, mas malawak. But since today is more focused on OSEC and CSEC, I think Miss Mai can tell us more about that particular issue in our country. Kasi yun nga, hotspot tayo dito sa Pilipinas. And to answer naman the question of the pandemic crisis, maraming mga factors Pero yun nga, International Justice Mission din nagsabi na OSEC is economically driven. So economically driven meaning it's not necessary na mahirap yung gumagawa, pero it's money that actually motivates people to do this. So it's economically driven, that's one factor. And then sa pandemic crisis, ang nangyari kasi syempre maraming nawalan ng trabaho, di ba? And then also yung the fact na people are locked in. So whether you are a child or whether you are a perpetrator from outside of the Philippines who's seeking for someone to victimize online, lahat naka-lockdown sa bahay nila. So mas maraming opportunities to conduct this kind of, and even the traffickers, meaning the ones that connect the children with the perpetrators outside of the country, they're locked in with the children kasi most of them live with them in their homes or within the communities or neighborhood. Kaya talagang ang daming factors that really combined make this such a prevalent issue now during the pandemic.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Derek Meg. Miss Grace, could you share us a sample scenario of child abuse that moved you the most when you learned about it?
Well, there are actually a lot, no? But there is this one case that I am working with. It's not necessarily, hindi siya OSEC. It's more of the sexual abuse, like rape. It's moving and troubling because it's moving in the sense nga the impact of, the trauma sa bata. I have this particular child, it was only like 10 years old when she was referred to us. And then the way she really coped from all those abuses, not just the sexual abuse, but actually of the attachment issues, like brokenness of relationship with the mother, a lot of things actually compounded na kasi siya, like it's a complex trauma experiences ba. And then the symptoms really are just too intense to the extent that the only thing or the only coping that this particular child knows is really just slushing slashing, self-harming, banging her head every time she really remembers the traumatic experiences. So it's really troubling, like for 9 years old child who was abused since she was 7 years old, the sexual abuse, not counting pa sa, when she was born, the same time with the childhood or developmental experiences with the mother, which is also kind of traumatic because there was like a chronic neglect there. So it was moving and troubling, but at the same time too, it's promising in the sense that after all, this particular mother and child, they still long for relationship, and that's what we are really hoping to rebuild. And actually, after like 1 year in program, so the child was reintegrated back to the family. There was reunification. The relationship was rebuilt. The child was able to really learn healthy coping skills. At the same time, because this child, that's something that you really appreciate about children because they are so resilient. Ba? Even, this slashing and banging her head, that's basically survival skills. It's just that it's not healthy, right? All you have to do is just to teach them healthy coping mechanisms. And so those are the things that we help these children. And so right now, she's really like practicing it. She's just very insightful. She's very active. She's very, of course, all these trends as well, you have to discover it with her. So those are the things that we really kind of work with these children and family. Yeah, so, yeah. Mm-mm.
Thank you, Miss Grace. If I could ask also the same question to Direct Meggie, what certain scenario of child abuse that really moved you the most in terms of the subject tonight?
So to be honest with you, it's hard to pinpoint just one because all of them are every single case is very
single, yeah.
Yes, but then siguro I'll tell you of one that I personally know kasi. It's also not OSEC. With OSEC cases, there are also various cases that bother me. But siguro one because I personally know the person that went through this. It's also child sexual abuse because it was done by the family. So it started with the grandfather, and then eventually, when the grandfather passed away, I think it was at 8 years old that it started. The grandfather passed away, and then when the grandfather passed away, she was so happy. She thought she was safe. And then after that happened, when she turned 12, it turned out that the father was also the same. So, and then she had to go through that until she was 20 years old before she told one person. So for me, just to imagine that girl going through that kind of a life and having that done to her by her own family, the family that's supposed to nurture her, love her, and protect her. And imagine like how much of a nightmare it is to go home for her. And the home is supposed to be the safest place for someone. And it's just so painful. And I know that's just one case and it happens everywhere in our country in various ways. So that's one specific case.
Quite sad, no?
Right. I mean, I've read about it that this yung topic natin tonight, it usually happens by those na inside the families. It usually happens among family members or by affinity, and hearing it from Direct Meggie, nakakakilabot siya in a way na it really happens. And the home should be a safe haven for this. I mean, we're trying to make the world a kind place for these children. Yeah.
Right.
So thank you, Direct Meggie, for sharing also your experience with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes, Miss Nina. Yes. I have a question. This goes to both Meggie and Grace. Knowing we've had those cases before, every child was forced to stay at home with relatives and social media, including streaming sites like YouTube and whatnot, as their only companion due to COVID-19. I think that's their only companion. That is where their eyes are glued every day. No, we couldn't help but wonder if the lockdowns due to the pandemic are reducing or increasing the risk of these children to abuse and violence. So we would like to know your views on this based on your experiences with fight to protect and restore children, Miss Meggie and Miss Grace. Oh, well, let's start with Miss Meggie na na. Okay, Miss Meggie. Okay.
Sige po. Well, yun na nga, like I said earlier na there are various risk factors that contribute to the increase in cases of online sexual exploitation of children given the pandemic crisis. And we know that everybody is online now, and some of the children, most of the children don't even have school now, diba? So they're online, and children are not even supposed to be on social media. Diba may limit dapat sa social media?
Yes.
But a lot of children are on social media. It's actually the norm. So I think that's one thing that if there are caregivers, like whether parents or any guardian, like living with children, that's one thing na kailangan talagang bantayan. We have to watch out for, because although online sexual exploitation of children specifically is more on there is a trafficker that connects the perpetrator with the child, there's still different forms of exploitation online that children can go through. And some instances, the perpetrators can actually directly connect with the children through those social media sites because they know the grooming process. The grooming process meaning they know how to attract children. These perpetrators from all over the world know what makes the children tick. And I watched this video one time. It was a TED Talk, and they said that the perpetrators or the traffickers know exactly what is lacking in the lives of the children, and they know how to fill that lack. And I think that if we are the ones that are aware of this, we have to fill whatever is lacking in these children's lives, and we have to get to them before the perpetrators or the traffickers, or even just equip them to recognize that what is right and what is wrong.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Meggie. That's a really wide situation of how this exploit, how these perpetrators are victimizing children. How about Miss Grace? What's your views about this social media with regards to children?
You know what? For me, I'm not actually surprised that it's even more happening right now. Like there are a lot of sexual abuse or child abuse ngayon nga na pandemic ba, because even before COVID, as we have already learned, this is really happening, and I cannot mention any places, but it is still happening right now actually.
And it gets worse right now.
Yeah. And then even one of my clients that I worked with before, her family is actually working as a business. It's like a business, and yung business nila is really sexual exploitation. So it's like clans. So from the grandmother to like the father and her, and of course like the little children. And it's still happening right now. And all the more, it's nangyayari pa rin because of, you know, a lot of people nawala ng job at the same time. Yung mga bata nasa loob lang. And plus, you know, the mental health, I'm not sure. I think we're still on that direction wherein we really want people to really, you know, understand and protect children and the impact of these things. So meaning to say, hindi pa talaga tayo reach out to the grassroots level really. So these people, the perpetrators are still thinking of, you know, like committing those kinds of crimes still. So kaya it's really evil, and it's so wicked, and sometimes I would even say it's a spiritual warfare that yeah, right. So it's not only like hindi siya ma-eradicate by just our strength and our knowledge and all that. It really requires spiritual intervention as well. But what we can do right now is, you know, like this one. This is really a really good opportunity where people can really understand this topic. At the same time, when we go back home, we can really, you know, like encourage people or share this kind of information. And even sa atong neighbors ba, that we can just take care of them, like we can just get involved by, like calling them out. I'm not really, honestly, when I go out and when I see people not doing the right thing, I'm not really like scared to call them out if it's not right, because of course we
Dapat.
don't have much control ba. But those little things that could help actually to remind the mother that, hey, it's not good na, like you are treating your children like that. So it's like a simple way of instilling them good value on how to protect children. And so for this particular OSEC, it's a huge thing, dude. And it really requires community like us and people and, the government and even, again, like the churches to really step up. But what is good about this one is that, especially in Cebu, our network here is very, very strong. So the church level are really aware of it. So they start to like going to the areas, like remote areas or mga areas talaga na maraming ganitong cases. Although hindi pa ganun talaga ka yung work nila, but I think we are on that direction already. And also one of the things that I am working with is in Cordova. In Cordova kasi, we have like a network of NGOs, facilities, or like mga organizations working with this OSEC and child abuse cases. So what they do, so the members of this particular network is from school and church and LGUs and shelters that are found there. So every month we get together, we discuss issues, we think of how we can really reach out to these children, what we can do, how to protect those things. So there are a lot of things that we are already doing, but because it's evil and it's wicked, and the work of evil is sometimes, I would say, sometimes unstoppable, but we will not also stop. So
I think they're everywhere, no?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Especially in social media. Not only just seen by the naked eye, they're basically everywhere.
Right. And plus,
that's why this is really a hard fight.
It's a hard fight. And everywhere you're using internet. Like right now, internet is like one of the means already to communicate. So these people, the perpetrators, they're also taking advantage of it. Right?
Yes.
All the more.
It's true, Miss Grace. Yeah, thank you so much for this information, Miss Grace. By the way, before we continue, I'd like to remind our audience on Facebook right now to drop your queries related to mental health and child safety and anti-exploitation measures on the comment box, as they will be read and answered later. All right. So, Miss Grace mentioned about mental health. I think Miss Nina would like to tell something about this part.
Yeah. We also have here with us tonight, actually si Bro Chen. He's HopeTV's resident mental health expert to hopefully help us shed some light on the possible health effects of this lockdown to abuse children in their locked homes. Brother Chen, is abuse at home perpetrated by relatives more pervasive than the ones committed outside?
My actually mas exposed ang mga social workers there na respect. I've experienced that mas common ang within the family or kana bitang people close to them already when it comes to these kinds of exploitation. So let's say sexual abuse, it may be from the father, an uncle, or from my clients actually in therapy as well, whether they were children or even as adults, it usually is from somewhere, a trusted source, whether it's the helper or the child of the helper, etc. No? So it sadly, it's from a trusted source, and siguro this betrayal makes it more painful in the long run because children are very innocent and fragile, and when they realize it later in their life, it can ruin lives. No? So lots of mental health symptoms out, trauma. No? But happy to say, like what Miss Maymay said, children can be quite resilient, sometimes more resilient than even adults
Adults.
sometimes. So
Yeah, I can observe that.
Based on our experience. Right.
but
Yeah.
yes, thanks for the
Yeah.
question, sis.
Thank,
Okay.
thank you,
But in
Brother
my
Jay.
experience, though, if it's okay,
This,
for
Please.
OSEC, really, the perpetrators mostly are family members, if not parents, uncles, or siblings,
that's
really.
the hardest part.
Yeah. But at the
True.
same time, like for rape, sexual abuse, I think parang pare-pareho lang, like incest and like outsiders. Outsiders, but mostly they know already, like neighbors or friend. Yeah.
Mm,
Pare-pareho ang like data when you go to the SWD. So, yun. It's very sad. Mm-mm.
yes, I agree.
Mhm.
All right.
So it's usually these kids that trust the
Yeah.
most, no.
Mhm.
Grabe. Actually,
Grabe.
spine chilling siya hearing all of this tonight.
True,
Right.
true. Oo. Kids are really vulnerable.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Oo.
Like they just
Um,
trust anybody.
Oo nga eh. I have a question actually for si Direct Meggie, si Miss Maymay, and si Bro
Mhm.
Chen. According to your experiences with these children or the stories that you've heard, what are the common symptoms that will help determine or identify that someone has been through this kind of
Yes.
sexual abuse?
Mm.
How should we react if someone opens up to us, and how could we help them? Can we start with
Mm.
direct Maggie? Yes.
I think na the probably the most equipped one to answer this would be Miss Maymay kasi I think
Maymay,
social
okay.
Miss Maymay ano tama ano pero I'll
Yes.
just give a few
It's for
like
all.
um just a few instances na experience ko with the homes that we work with. Kasi it's hard because iba-iba yung reactions ng bawat isang bata. Depende sa personality. Ganyan. But please
Mm-mm.
correct me if I'm wrong. Pero some become more ano tawag, they're reserved. Like, it's hard for them to open up. But some also become parang napagkakamalan silang promiscuous. Kasi it becomes parang natanggal na alis na sa kanila yung pine-preserve nila. So, no more reason to, like, preserve it. So, it becomes their way of living na rin. And some of them get judged because of that. But then in terms of like the simple signs, I remember kasi one of the homes that we encountered, there was this boy. He was, I think, already 8 years old or 7 years old. And then he suddenly started wetting his bed again,
Mm-mm.
which was unusual behavior. And then they tried to investigate, and then they saw nga na there was an experience of sexual abuse that happened to that child. Kaya there was that kind of parang unusual behavior na parang hindi na naman siya nag-wet ng bed, malaki na siya, tapos bigla na lang meron. Tapos parang it became a habit na nangyayari siya. Tapos yun, they found out na may nangyari pala. And then, siguro I'll just give those examples and let them expound more because they have more experience in this area.
Yes.
Thank you. Miss Maymay.
Common symptoms really. Sometimes no, paiba-iba. Honestly, when I was working with OSEC and now mostly with sexual abuse din, it's really different. The intensity of the impact to them is really mas intense yung sexual abuse. Probably because it's, like forced kasi eh. Compared to like, I'm not saying, I'm not minimizing yung sa, OSEC ha. But ang sexual abuse, it's really evident yung symptoms of PTSD, like post-traumatic stress disorder, like nightmares, flashbacks, anger, sense of hopelessness, what is that? Ano pa? Like slushing, and then sexualized behavior. Like I have 10-year-old child who was sexually abused by 6 men, including uncle, when she was 7 years old. She's so highly sexualized at the age of 9. She had like a sexual relationship with this 31-year-old man. And then highly sexualized because she would just ask you, like what's the color of your bra, what do you do with your boyfriend, you know, those things, like the innocence are really gone sa kanya. So we have to like teach her again like appropriate questions to ask, like unsay dapat sa kana lang nga age, those things, because those are the impact or the effect of trauma sa kanya. Like imagine like a repeated abuses na yun yung palagi niyang nakikita. So basically yun yung mga na-stimulate niya sa brain, right? So yun, PTSD, like nightmares, and that particular child as well, self-harming, sexualized behavior, nightmares, she cannot sleep, anger, outbursts, like anytime when you reject her request, whatever, she would just, you know, like burst out in anger. She cannot really control her emotions and she will just cuss you, things like that. It's so hard to work with them, but it's just amazing too that when you provide like a constant and consistent care for them, like pursuing them really, they would really like start to, you know, connect with you and really look for you. And, you know, that's where the relationship or the healing really starts. With the OSEC, sometimes, especially for children, sometimes hindi mo agad ma-observe later na. And mostly yung in my experience, it's still sexualized behavior. So, yung sa mga bata. But for the commercial sexual exploitation, because a lot of them too have sexual abuse history, so kind of mixed din. But it's different kasi sa commercial sexual exploitation of children and especially yung mga adults na, you know, working in the bar, things like that. Sometimes they have this pride already of the work that they do. That's why when we rescue them in the past, they would get angry with us because that's the only work, that's the only, you know, that's the only means of living wherein people really, especially the family, would look up to them ba? Kasi they are the ones providing the family, they earn a lot of money, they get all these things, you know, like gadgets, they stay in a very nice, you know, apartment, and then all of a sudden, you rescue them, put them in a shelter, then try to help them, provide them work, things like that. But they have a very low, educational attainment. And so parang, that's not my normal. My normal is like, I'm out there, like working in a bar, entertaining, and then people would love me because I'm, you know, things like that. So it's different. However, for those really like longing for healing, because when we had rescues in the past, there are really, you can really see yung mga bata ba, that they are really writing on the wall, like, please God help me. I hope that today I will be rescued. Now I'm emotional already. Yeah, but those kinds of children who really long for healing, more or less, they would really like succeed in the, you know, in the healing process or the treatment process. I'm not saying some hindi sila nagsucceed, but cooperation is really important kasi a lot of mga rescued clients before, we had hard time really pursuing them kasi they would run away in the shelter, and then we look for them, and then pag ando na kami, ayaw nila kaming kausapin, things like that. But for those really like the sexually abused children who really believe na they really need help, somehow yun yung parang mas madali yung, you know, yung process of healing sa kanila. So it's kind of different, but mostly broken identity. They have distorted belief system that they are not worthy, that they're not loved, that my worth is, you know, I am just good for sex, you know, things like that. So a lot of mga distortions happening sa kanila. And another thing which is very common sa mga cases namin, is developmental delay induced by trauma. So yun, like I have like a 6-year-old child who acts like 3 years old or 2 years old because abuse really happened when she was 2 years old. So parang ang growth niya really stopped there. She was really stuck there. So those things. Maybe Chen can also like add, because I know that he has experience too.
Yes, bro Chen.
Bro Chen.
I'd like to compliment Ms. Maymai's input. No, that was all true, and especially about the PTSD part. Actually, the post-traumatic stress disorder. It's really a diagnosable mental disorder, no, and it's really more devastating if diagnosed at an early age compared at a later age. In fact, earlier ma-diagnose ni sa child, the more it will wreak havoc sa mental health later on sa age niya, whether it's physical abuse or sexual abuse. The reason for this is the child's brain is so plastic, that means so moldable, and if you ruin it with abuse, with exploitation, the building blocks of your emotional development really gets ruined. And some symptoms of sexual abuse that I have also seen is quite common is shame. I feel so ashamed. I should hide this part of me. Hypersensitivity when it comes to perhaps touching of sexual parts or mentioning of certain things. No, in fact, a central feature of PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder is actually flashbacks. That means a highly traumatic situation. We're so stressed, right? Grabe ang stress. And these flashbacks keep appearing again and again in our minds. When there are triggers that remind us of the trauma, perhaps when we were raped, or we were betrayed by our father or uncle who molested us, then, or perhaps we have generalizations that all men are out to get me, etc. And also, Miss Maima is right. The symptoms are so varied. With regards to how we can respond to these people who report these to us, no, actually one of the best things according sa readings in a research is it said, the research says na the first person the child goes to when they report sexual abuse is one of the most crucial points healing niya. That means if the person denies their experience of abuse and siguro ibaliwala, no, in Bisaya, perhaps i-ignore, i-sweep under the rug, moingon siya na, what? You were molested by your uncle? Really? That's not true. I mean, he's such a good person. Perhaps you tempted him. No? So these comments are actually quite toxic, and they actually ruin the child's experience. So they get denied, and because of that, they become ashamed. They feel they're not entitled to their trauma. So one of the best predictors of recovery daw, according to research sa sexual trauma, is how the first person reacts to your reporting of the trauma. That means if you report that you were molested and your mother believes you and she says, I'm so sorry, I will get through this, I'll find a way, I'll do my best, and she heals faster, way faster. Pero if it's the other way around, then I'm so sorry to hear that. Actually, it takes a toll sa mental health sa bata. So there's that. No? Really be receptive, and know if you need support, ask for support, but don't deny the child's experience. I guess there's still a lot, but those are the gist. No? Thanks for asking me.
Yes.
Thank you, Brother Chen. Actually, I highly agree with you. It's more on, maybe we should really focus on asking or supporting the child and being open when they open up to us na maging kakampi nila tayo in this. Na whatever you're going through, I'm here, I'm open to listen to you. Sabihin mo sa akin lahat. Rather than, as mentioned kanina, na sometimes others would react na hindi naniniwala, totoo ba itong nangyari? So it usually siguro shift the focus of response and automatically na can we just listen talaga and sige, mag-open up ka sa akin kasi andito ako para sa'yo. And I'm here to help you. And just to add.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you, Ms. Maymay. For our educator also, Brother RR, can you tell us, based on the behavior of a student in school, na how could you determine that, siguro as a student in school, how could you be able to determine na she or he has been abused? I mean, based on your experience naman.
Okay. All right. First of all, I really felt what Miss Grace felt. No, she when she told us about her experiences with this kind of kids, she really felt emotional. Uh, I've been teaching for 3 years already, and so far I haven't heard of sexual abuse, but more on physical abuse in my classes. And sometimes when I observe them, they isolate themselves.
Mm.
And yeah, I think it's different with the boys and the girls' behavior. Based on my observation, the boys are more they have become more abusive to others. That like they tend to follow their parents
Mm.
abusing them. They do it to their fellow classmates. But that's just some of the boys. Well, some of the boys will be scared with other people, so they isolate.
Mm.
So girls, yeah, they are very. Some of the girls mostly who experience physical abuse, they are also they also isolate themselves. But at the same time, they, they have the highest incident of cutting classes. I think more than the boys. That's based on my status quo in my school. And the good thing in my school that I worked before, Athenaeum International School, we have a subject called recreational time. So this subject, recreational time, we don't discuss, we don't talk about subjects, we don't talk about knowledge. It's
Mm.
basically free time. It's just whatever the students will do.
Mm.
But that does not mean that the teacher will not be in the classroom. The teacher will still be in the classroom, but he or she spends time with student talking with the students, and that's actually a very good avenue for the students to express themselves. And yes, some really did able to express themselves because of that kind of curriculum. So I
Mm.
hope other schools will also follow that, not just puro subjects lang, puro studies lang. I hope there will be a certain time that talking with students, mingling with students, so that students can feel comfortable expressing themselves, and maybe we can find out that they have this kind of experiences na pala. So I'd like to share a really good advice that I have learned from my
Mm.
entire teaching career. It's really good to just listen. No, it's
Yes.
better to just listen than advising. I mean, advising is good. I think the kids are the kids want someone to vent themselves. Yeah. So they are full of advice na. So what they need is a listener. So listen, and listen, so then they can talk their hearts out. That's what I've
Mm.
learned in my entire career.
Right.
How about you, Miss Nina, and in your field?
I mean, as a digital marketer, and ngayon kasi all of the kids naka-lock up ngayon sa mga bahay nila, so they have all the time in the world, to do social media. Siguro if they have, some kids have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok ngayon, uso na siya sa
Mm.
mga
Yes.
kabataan ngayon. And
My newsfeed is full of TikToks because I think most of my friends on Facebook are my students. So yeah.
yeah, so they're more active sila sa ganun ngayon eh. Kasi nasa bahay ka nga lang naman, you can't go out. Syempre, we think of the safety of these kids. For me, siguro as a digital, in the field of being a digital marketer, maybe we could suggest siguro a regulated social media parenthood. We're in the, kasi children they're very easy targets eh. With regards to their wide social media exposure. And sana lang we could divert their attention and like just like earlier times, parang let's teach them how to, uso ngayon yung pagbibake, 'di ba? Nasa Instagram siya ngayon, uso yung pagbibake. we could teach them basic food preparation, siguro mga parang like just simpler times. You have crochet or mga basic DIY household repairs, so that they can never be out of touch.
That's actually very cute.
Yeah, diba? I mean, and it would also teach them to it would also open them to idea of having to maybe in the future to micromanage an enterprise. They could learn to be entrepreneurs. They could be into gardening.
That's
Or a
nice.
bit of farming, diba? And these kids, they have all the convenience now, and maybe the parents or the ates or their kuyas at home could help them go through this online mga learning resources that they could access to naman din. So to further divert yung attention nila sa pagti-TikTok siguro, sa pagsasayaw sa ganun.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Now,
bro,
since
I
yes.
I actually wanna interject. Okay,
Yeah.
we actually have some valuable questions from our audience right now, and
Okay, yes, sure.
I wanna direct this to everyone, perhaps Nemo, Miss Maymay. No? So the question is, as neighbors, how can we help troubled families that we suspect to be engaging into child exploitation? What steps should we do for the sake of our mental health din na malabanan yung takot at indecision para maka-reach out kami sa kanila to help? In reality, it seems so difficult to take a step to help if this stuff take place somewhere nearby someone we know. No, so this is a concerned neighbor, and perhaps tips. No? Do you have tips?
You know, when I was working with IGM, we get a lot of report from concerned citizens, and we really value that kasi, the neighbors can actually see, directly. Sometimes they even witness ba. So sometimes they even have more information. So siguro for you as a neighbor, don't be afraid to really report it to the police. Good. I believe nga yung mga police natin dito, they are already trained doing those things. In fact, when I believe, I'm not IGM anymore, no? But I think the focus of IGM right now, or long before, no, was really training police, paano i-investigate, at the same time, paano mag-build up sa case, those things. And they are the ones already like rescuing. In the past kasi, we really assisted them, like from rescue to like prosecution to, the end of the case talaga ba. So basically, the police people right now, they are aware of those things, and they are really, that would be very helpful talaga sa kanila when you just report. And then give as much information as you can or you have. Kasi it's so hard din to really investigate kung wala ka ding names, kung wala ka ding, it's so hard. Yun yung pinaka-mahirap din sa OSEC. Lisod, mas okay magud, compared to like the CSEC, like, like when you have this particular child working in the bar, so nakikita mo yung bar, so madaling i-investigate kasi a police can just go there, kind of like pretend as tawag nito yung anong tawag niyan, like they just pretend as customers but they are actually police, so mas dali sila maka-investigate. But for the online sexual exploitation, it's so hard kasi hindi mo alam kinsa ang perp, kinsa ang customers. So kung marami kang information, that's really great talaga. So number one, don't be afraid to really report. That's our responsibility. That's the least probably that we can do for our neighbors talaga. So either to the police or to the local government unit of the SWD. Yeah. And then don't be afraid to also push. Kasi sometimes we just need that. Sometimes ang dami nilang na-receive na mga information, but kung kita murag dili pud ta kadagan di pud ta mo push gani, di ta mo follow up, di pud na nila usahay kanaganing buhaton, but you just have to push and follow up hantod nga murag kapuyo na sila and they would really do something here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
thank you so much, Ms. Grace.
Your experience, Ms. Maymay, are these things confidential, meaning the caller's name, etc.? Maybe natakot siya because maybe the person will know that that he was reported, no? So will the caller's name be confidential? Kaya.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, Gyud. And I believe, well, it's imo man ang discretion, no? Nga mo yung kagdili lang ko magpahibaw kay syempre neighbors may agad hapon. So it's important as well na imo protektahan po imo hang, identity. Yeah. Mostly sa mga ni-report sa mo, it's really confidential, Gyud. And there are a lot of informants in the community that do that job. So ang ilaha is really to observe and then report to us, and then we build up the case like in the past, Gyud. Yeah. Mm-mm.
All right. Thank you
Yeah.
for.
But again, well, I just want to emphasize, no, kasi naamang gud tay murag task force unit ana already sa mga police gani, especially the women and children's desk. They already knew that. So when you report, and then kung compelling kaayo mo yung case because or imuhang report because the perp unsay gibuhat every when unsay na receive things like that unsay na hear nimo. So more or less they can build up a case nga maayo. So don't be afraid, Jude. Just report it. Mm-mm.
All right. Right. Since we're running out of time naman, we'll just jump into the next question. No? I think this issue, I think it's safe to say that this issue boils down to how we parent, how we do parenting. So it really affects the mentality of our kids. So now I'm going to be asking any parenting tips that you can share for our viewers, our dear guests. Meggie, are you already a parent or what?
I'm not a parent, so I don't know if I'll be equipped to answer that question.
Well,
to be honest
maybe you have
with
some
you,
tips.
I am not a parent yet, so baka yung iba dyan na may mga anak can answer that question. But then, I mean,
it's just a joke, Miss Meg.
But me being somebody that was raised by parents, siguro, to actually
maybe you have experiences.
Yeah, well, ako, experience ko just seeking the good of the child. Just seeking the good of the child above everything.
Okay.
Like, even if, let's say, hirap sa pera, ganyan, parang hindi yung bata yung dapat na, anong tawag dito, mag-fulfill the need na yun. Parang siguro as parents, kasi ako parent, kaya hirap sagutin ang question, but the responsibility kasi, I mean, nasa parents din talaga. Diba? So, ayun.
Okay.
Siguro yung mga parents dito would better answer. I'm really not equipped to answer that question.
But that's actually a good takeaway already, Miss Meggie, no? I think you're ready to be a good parent someday.
No, not yet.
All right, how about you, Miss Grace? Do you have any tips? Parenting
Siguro,
tips so that,
one of the things siguro that I can share is that, or I've learned personally, is that any behavior is communicative. So whenever you see your child misbehaving or not really like the negative misbehaving or something or dili siya normal ba, so he or she is really communicating something. So all you have to do really is make time, good, ask questions, good, ask questions what happened. Seems like murag sad kay kakaron, or seems like murag dili normal ni mga kuan. Is there anything that happened to you? And of course, no supervision, good, sa screen time. Importante gid kay na siya kay, a lot of kuan there, mga sexualized na mga makita na to ba, na sometimes maka-curious at the same time, daghay mga invitations and all that. So it's avenue good for mga expectation like that po.
All right. It's actually a good insight, parenting, Miss Grace, no? Miss Nina?
Yes.
I think you're going to ask something.
Yeah, this question.
Okay.
Yeah, this question is for for Direct Meggie. Direct Meg, if you could share with us the current issues that's being taken into spotlight by Fight to Protect, and how can we help, and how could we be part of this program?
Okay, sure. Should I use the share screen na ako?
Okay,
sige. So I'll just share my screen. Oh, hold on. I'm disabled to share the screen for the presentation. Okay, there. Now I'm allowed to share the screen. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me share. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes? Can you see the presentation? Okay.
Yes.
So, sige, I'll make this as quick as possible. I'll try my best. So, like I said earlier, Fight to Protect actually covers the issue of child sexual violence. And since I am an athlete, what we do is we actually use the sport in two ways. One is as a platform, and the other one is as a tool. The mission is to fight for the end of child sexual violence through sports. And the way that we use sport as a platform is for prevention. Kasi we see that yung sports kasi, we know that people are interested in it. Diba? It's something that, people feel excited about. Sometimes when we talk about issues, people don't even want to listen. Kasi nakaka-down or parang, ay, ang bigat naman yan, I don't want to listen. So,
True.
we're combining the interest of the people in sport with the issue so that people will listen. And not just listen to the point that they will just know, but listen to the point that they will actually want to do something about it. Because in my opinion, sport is something that encourages you to move. Okay, so move is something that when you think about moving, it's something like action, diba? So awareness to the point that you will actually act and do something about it. So that's one way we use sport as a platform. Then the other way is to parang restore. Kasi restoration yung nakalagay dito. That's why I'm excited to know about restore some more. Anyway, so we use sport as a tool naman to help the children restore from victims to survivors and then eventually advocates themselves. So I'll just go some of the photos that we have. So para you guys have an idea how. So for example, the sport of jiu-jitsu. When we talk about the issue of child sexual violence with children, we use the sport in a way para mas light, pero we still talk about the concepts. So parang we mix in yung sport with the things that they need to know. And then another way that we raise awareness to the sport is by organizing events. So actually we're partners also with International Justice Mission and other organizations also. Pero yung here naman based in Manila. So like the photo on the bottom right, that was Freedom Sunday event last year. What we did was we had a jiu-jitsu seminar wherein it was right after the SEA Games. So yung mga SEA Games medalists actually got together and then we taught jiu-jitsu to people and then all the people had to do was donate. So it was a seminar, 100% donations, and all the donations were used to raise funds for the homes that were part of that event. So it was really to get people together, not just to raise funds, but also to make them more aware of the issue of what's going on. So yung sports community na never ba nila narinig yung issue na to, naging aware, then not just naging aware, nakatulong na din sila directly by donating. And then they also got to know the organizations that were doing work for the children kasi andun din yung organizations. So nagkaroon din ng ways of, making connections. And there's even this one guy na nag-attend ng event na he was actually able to have another effort for the homes during the pandemic crisis because of this event. So in this way, we're also connecting people to help those that need help. Then yung doon naman sa restoration part, it started back in 2016, partnership with Safe Haven, and then our team then in Jiu-Jitsu. So we taught survivors how to do Jiu-Jitsu to help them recover from their trauma. And then just to let you know, hindi OSEC survivors yung nasa photos. Of course, for the security purposes. But we started teaching them 2016, and then 2017, they started competing already, and then nagme-medals na sila. And then 2018, we actually did a partnership with JCI San Juan Campana where we kasi ang sinabi ng mga kids, ang pangarap nila is not just to be champions. Ang pangarap nila is actually to be the ones to teach other children jiu-jitsu. So nagkaroon sila ng ganung klaseng vision para dun sa sport kasi natulungan sila ng sport, so sila mismo gusto nila makatulong sa iba. So JCI San Juan Campana through the Build to Empower project has helped train these kids to be able to teach other children jiu-jitsu as well. And actually just this year, 2020, sa loob ng Safe Haven, yung kids na dati namin tinuturuan, ngayon sila na yung nagtuturo dun sa mga kids. So parang nakita natin from victims to survivors to advocates themselves. They themselves are now advocating against child sexual violence. They get to speak sa events and, they're empowered enough to do that already. And to answer the other question of ways to help, yung isang picture dito sa left, merong Fight to Protect shirts ngayon. And they sponsor kasi ako yung Hyperfly. They actually donated shirts, and then 100% of the gross proceeds will be used to raise funds for these homes and organizations. And then ito namang Freedom Sunday, nakalagay 2019 kasi screenshot ko lang yun last year. But magkakaroon ulit ng Freedom Sunday events this year, and it will all be based online. This is in partnership with International Justice Mission and other organizations as well that are caring for children, although based here in Metro Manila, but in the future, definitely, I would also like to help Cebu. Actually, alam niyo na mga taga-JCI Cebu, I've been wanting to help Cebu in any way I can dahil nga alam ko na it's rampant there. But yung Freedom Sunday Network na events based online this year, it will be a campaign running from September to December and maraming different activities. And just tune in to the page of Fight to Protect for more information. And just to end this presentation, gusto ko lang explain kung bakit ito yung symbol ng Fight to Protect. It's because this issue is so complex, it's so difficult, and it really takes different people from all walks of life, from different expertise na pag-come together and really unite to fight as one to protect children. And yung ako kasi bilang athlete, we always train to get to that number one spot. And kailangan it's that same perseverance that we apply to pursue the fight, just like how an athlete fights in sport. And lastly is purpose. Dapat klaro why we do what we do. Ako personally, my purpose is really like, everything is from God, it's from Him, it's by Him, it's for Him. So, lahat ng ginagawa ko, hindi ako titigil kasi sa Kanya nanggagaling ito. Hanggang sa mamatay ako, hanggang sa sabihin ng Diyos na tumigil na ako, hindi ako titigil. Kasi klaro sa akin yung purpose, it's for His glory. Kaya ito yung symbol ng Fight to Protect. And ang dami kong sinabi, pero sa totoo lang kasi at the end of the day, minsan we can get stuck thinking about the issue, thinking about the statistic, thinking how big this problem is, that we actually forget about the people around us, the people who actually need us, the people that need our love, the people that need God's love. And for me, it's still about the people at the end of the day. Issues are huge, it's complex, it's difficult to solve or resolve. But at the end of the day, it's really about loving people. So ayun. Thank you so much. Ito yung Fight to Protect, and feel free to just ask us on Facebook or Instagram if you want to get involved or know more about us. Thank you.
It's really very, very good. Yes.
Ganda.
Yes, maganda.
Thank you, Derek Meggie, for sharing.
I really appreciate Miss Meggie for stepping up your game. No, not just an athlete, but an athlete as with a cause. No, it's really nice. You're using your God-given gifts and talents, not just for yourself, but also for others. Wow, I mean, I think this is where we can say sana all, no?
For His glory.
Yes. All right. We will read a comment from our audience on our Facebook page from Leo Gardo. He said, as the adults in the family, I think it's important to socialize with your immediate community and get your children well acquainted with normal and safe interactions with others. Set expectations of healthy interactions. I think it will help them develop a sense of what's okay versus what to alarm them and what they should approach an adult they trust about. I couldn't agree more. This is really correct, no? I think as adults, I think we're all adults. We have kids, siblings. Who among us here have younger siblings here? I have a sister, a 7-year-old sister, and as much as possible, I set a really good example for my younger sister. Yeah. How about you, Miss Nina? You have younger brothers and sisters as well?
I have one younger brother. I call him baby. Kahit 16 years old na siya though. Mas matangkad siya sa akin.
16 pero baby. Okay.
I still call him our baby kasi bunso baby pa din siya. And yeah, same as you know, I always try to set a good example to him. And like as I mentioned earlier, being his ate or his older sister, I would always encourage him to watch different kinds of workshops, or to read and to learn more, and to use internet as much as he can right now, kasi how ang dami niya ng oras niya yun eh. I mean, more rather aside from learning a lot from online school learning, there's a lot more outside of the classroom na we could both maximize it together. Siguro bonding na rin bilang magkapatid, bonding na din namin.
That's really nice, no? That will surely build a very healthy environment to your baby, no? Or brother. All right.
Baby pero 16.
Baby pero 16. Okay, bro
Baby
Chen.
boy.
Baby bro Chen,
Bro.
would you like to ask about restored children?
Oh yes, so this is directed to Miss Maima. I'd like you to perhaps share lang. Actually, I already know about it, pero for the sake of the audience, what does Restore do, and how can we help?
Okay. So first of all, the founder of Restore was a former director of legal, the husband and attorney, and then the former director of aftercare, like a psychologist, are now based in the US. They worked with IJM before. So before Manggod, kasi we just rescue clients, although we did clinical work, but we cannot really do as much because the main work was with the prosecution. And so during the time, we really realized that even if we already gave like mga educational assistance, like housing and things like that, these kids and these adults would always go back to, prostitution. And so we realized it's really the unresolved traumas, the belief system and all that. So now Restore Children and Family Services is really addressing those unresolved or those symptoms of trauma. So we are a community-based, we are mental health services based in community, meaning to say that we go there, we visit clients. It's not traditional where people will go to the office, do our one-on-ones, although we also do that, but we are community-based. So meaning to say we really travel, we visit the family, we do our therapies there. And and we really work with children.
Really reach out.
Yeah, we really reach out. Okay, these kids or these families are really poor. Like we are so inclined serving those family who have experience of, who suffer trauma ba. And mostly they are really like poor. So they have limited access to these type of services. And so we really want to make sure that they access these types of services. So we go there, we do our therapies. And then, so our work is for child age 2 to 21 years old. The main criteria really is trauma, and it's really for free. All you have to do really is participate in the service. Of course, we do some assessment because our work is really intensive and quality services. We really use evidence-based practices really. So it's really intensive therapy, like at least twice a week sessions with client plus the family plus the meetings and all that. So ansa pa? So we are California based, but this is our field here, the first field office. We really love Cebu, and I think there are a lot of things to do pa here in Cebu, but in the future we hope to really expand yun, especially to the places na limited access din. And then, what else? So, I think for those who really want to get involved, there are really 4 things that you can do. You can volunteer. Then, of course, you can pray for us. Then you can also give, you can donate. And then the last thing is really share. So one of the things we really need right now is increase our referrals. So because of COVID, we kind of like suspend our mga group therapies because we cannot really meet in group. But and then ang individualized cases, those are like the intensive therapy. Limited yung referrals nila. So I really want, hopefully, like you can also help us promote, restore, share what we do, and really tell them that it's really for free. It's intensive. When you meet psychologists outside Chen, sorry, you pay at least 1,000 pesos, but ours is really free. Ours is really free. So yeah.
All
And
right.
you can ask questions if you want to know more about us.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Grace. That is really a wholesome and fulfilling job. I think the work of a social work is really fulfilling, especially when it comes to reaching out this people who are really in dire need of protection and safe places. No,
Yes.
as a follow-up question, Miss Grace, as parents or guardians, how do you further protect these minors from sexual exploitations from using online platforms, aside from distracting them by encouraging physical hobbies? They still return to these platforms, and parents can guard them 24/7 when they use that medium. So
I think for
what is
me,
your advice?
the parents should be educated first. So if you're a parent, I think you need to go to your internet, surf, like search as well, like impact of social media, things like that. But I think more obvious naman noon that there are really negative impact. So I think I would just encourage good supervised screening, like supervised, like limited time good of,
Yes, I
using cell
agree.
phones, internet. Okay. Like for example, my umangko, no? Um, in the province, they don't really use that. Kay wala may access, walang masyadong access. But when he visited Cebu, he used my phone, and he's not the type nga knows really like YouTube and all that. But there was really one time when I really checked, he was really opening this like mga sites ba? Because ang daming sites na parang nagpa-pop up lang, right? So, and that could be
Yes.
like the start of, those types of mga makikita natin sa internet na can really influence them in a really negative way ba. So supervise it, have limited time only, and be creative din sa home ninyo, and really spend time sa family. Kasi, like internet use and surfing and games, those are just behaviors that child tried to actually, parang it's just a replacement of some kind of unmet nga need ba. It's just a coping, but basically what they want is really connection.
Yes.
So try to really like connect with your child, talk with your child, because the more you have that, the more the lesser the child would really engage to like social medias, games, and all that. So I hope it helps.
Agree. It really helps, Miss Grace. Thank you so much for this tips. So yeah, that's it. For those if you have PCs like the whole computer desktop, I think it's better that it should be placed somewhere public in the house, so that the parents can monitor what are the kids are doing in the computer. Also, laptops are also should be placed publicly siguro if the kids are using it, so that we can monitor what's going on. Also, no cell phones in bed. Yeah, those are really good provisions. So that's just a little way that we can protect these minors from possible online activities, questionable online activities that they will be
and
targeted.
parents should also like role model, because right now a lot of parents are also like using cell phones, right? Even when they are eating. So I think they also have to discipline.
Yes, role model. It starts with the adults in the end. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Meggie and Miss Grace. We're nearing to the end of our episode today, but before that, Chen, I'm sad to say that we're going to skip the meme segment. so, so let's skip first some memes for now. Let's move on to your self-assessment, Bro Chen. So you have something to show.
Oh, right. Basically, I'd just like to ask all of you. I mean, we've been talking for almost 2 hours about these topics that are really worth talking about. And I just wanna ask perhaps any learnings or feelings that you may have right now from each of you. So let's start with you, bro, RR. Any feelings or learnings from what we've talked about?
Learnings. My learnings is children always imitates what adults do. Like they, they have they have a mind that works like a sponge. That whatever they are observing, whatever they see, it just absorbs in their mind. So that's why it's crucial. We have a really crucial role as adults, no, to really magbantay sa ating mga actions, because kids are just observing. They are just they are passionately curious. They are secretively curious as well. So yeah, it starts with the adults, the older people. Okay, another is since it starts with the adults, we should uh, influence kids with good things like good shows to watch, good activities to do with, like that. Especially as a teacher, I'm really gearing towards listening. First, I learned that to mingle with students, there are two easy things that we should that as an educator should do. First is to ask question. It's just little things lang, because it might there are big things that might come out with those little things or questions. So first, ask questions, and second, listen. Really listen. Lend your ears. Maybe less on the talking, but more on the listening. Yeah, that's my takeaways for today. We learned it from Miss Grace Good. It's more on communication. Yes, that's what
Yes,
I've learned.
very true. Thank you for that, bro, RR. How I'd like to hear perhaps any feelings or learnings from your end, Miss Meggie. Perhaps you want to share something a bit.
So feelings, say at the beginning we were talking about the issue. Of course, when you talk about the issue, you feel the heaviness, you feel the heartbrokenness, you feel the gravity of this issue, how big it is. But then later on towards the conversation, we started talking about the solutions. And then when we started talking about the solution, it started to get a bit more hopeful. And then we started talking about what has already been done. Then that's when I saw that we just have to keep doing what we're doing. And I think me hearing also more about Restore and just hearing also more about what everybody does, it makes me realize that wow, having events like this, I think it's very encouraging because you see how we all come from different fields, right? We all come from different careers. We all have different skills and different talents. But I mean, just all of us having this conversation now about such a topic as this, it's just very encouraging because it goes to show that there's still so much that can be done. And we're here now, we're doing something about it. And I hope that we keep doing something about it. So those are my feelings and thoughts.
Yes, thank you for that, Miss Maggie.
Yes, it's a good start already.
Yeah, I especially like how we actually feel better in talking about the resolutions and what's been done. I'm really a firm believer that kita as humans, we're naturally compassionate and giving as people. What we just need to do is spread the awareness, and when people are aware, naturally we give our time, our resources. Thank you. How about you, Sis Nina? No, do you have any feelings or learnings you'd like to share?
Yeah, if I may add from Miss May's learnings, actually I highly agree with her also that social media responsible parenthood by regulating the sites and the internet hours or exposures of the children of our younger siblings. And I think as we've all agreed that communication is very vital because a child who can verbalize and have an open communication with the household elders, with the parents or with the older siblings, I think that child will most likely be able to open up or to be able to trust or disclose his or her activities in social media. So as agreed throughout all this throughout this talk tonight, that communication between adult and child is very important.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for that.
you.
How about you, Miss Maimai? Do you have any feelings, learnings, or something you wanna reiterate for the audience right now?
Personally, I'm just encouraged by what you do, guys. Even this COVID ba, especially Chen, of course, your team, no, you always think of how you can really reach out and help
Yeah.
promote mental health, these things. And for me, as long as we do this, as long as people really get involved, but there's always there's hope, dude. And because it takes community of people to heal one. So this particular work that we do is already showing ba nga we are really a firm believer of hope, Jude. So I just really hope nga for those people nga are moved right now or have this passion, please find out like where you can really reach out, Jude, like in your local communities, in your barangays, in your neighbors, just reach out to them, because one of the things that really, like working with these abused kids and families, one of the things that are really broken and really need yun nila is really relationship, the love and acceptance. So even if they don't experience that with their families, because their families are perpetrators and all that, if we experience that with us, that's already the start of healing. It takes one adult lang to show that love sa ilahan, acceptance. Just like what you said, nga, just be like listening to them, like just have this open ears, good, and how the way you respond to them. It's huge for them, and you may be or we may be the reason why they have to move forward, why they want to live again. So yeah, I'm just hopeful. I'm very encouraged and grateful as well. I'm privileged to be part of this. Thank you all.
Thank you,
We're
Miss Maimai.
also very privileged to have you here, Miss Grace.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So now that it's nearing our the end. Oh, Bro Chen, I'm afraid also we're not gonna. I think we're gonna do our lifestyle maybe in the next episode because
Oh,
yes. Okay. So for our next episode, we're going to have our lifestyle, which is really nice. Unta, pero right now we are 2 hours already talking, but within those 2 hours, it's really fruitful. I think this is really, especially personally, this is really good for me as an educator. It gives me a wider perspective towards my students,
yes.
especially that we are doing online classes and yeah, online.
True.
So
True.
asa naman nag-glued ang mga mata sa mga bata? It's in the internet. So I think teachers really play an important role here. So if there are teacher audiences here in our episode, I really encourage you to rewatch this so that we can relearn this very very important things. Okay, wow. Thank you so much, Miss Meggie Ochoa and Miss Grace Moreno for your time, for your expertise, for encouraging us that it's not the end. I mean, this is solvable. I mean, you can still do some things to solve this one. Thank you so much. This
So,
brings to the end of our episode. Yes.
Before they leave, bro, perhaps we can
Yes.
also promote Restore's website. I don't think it was mentioned. As I recall, because I'm a volunteer, it's restore-cfs.org.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
We're happy to listen.
We can put that in the comment section if people want to support, donate, or just learn more. And there's also the Restore Children and Family Services Facebook page. No? Like and share and whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, I encourage everyone to like or share this website, restorechildrenandfamily.org. You will get to immerse yourself with the situation that we're that we are having right now in terms of the OSEC and the CSEC. So
Mm-mm.
here, it will give you an ample knowledge about the current situation. So we'll be posting a poster of the F2P and Restore as well in the coming days. Okay. All right, that's it. Once again, we are grateful. Thank you so much, Miss Meggie Ochoa, Miss Grace Moreno, and also to our guest host, Miss Nina, for
Thank
gracing
you.
our episode right
Thank
now.
Thank
you.
you for having me as
Sis.
well.
Thank you, guys.
See you
Thank
on
you
the
for
next
You.
being
episode.
here.
All
Good night.
right.
Bye-bye. God bless.
Bye. This has been your host.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're all.
Bye-bye.
Bro, okay na bro.
We're still live.